What do they get in Tobias Harris? Obviously, we've seen Tobias here before. He played with the Pistons from 2015 through 2018, 3 seasons with the Pistons. He averaged 16.6, 16.1, and 18.1 with the Pistons before he was gone. What did he do last season? That's what's relevant. He's 31 years old. Last year, he started 70 games with Philadelphia and averaged 17.2 points a game. But his three-point percentage was below his career average. He's a career 37% shooter. Last year, he shot 35%. So it's below league average. It was below his personal average, his career average anyway. So, yeah, what you're not getting is peak Tobias Harris, who was shooting 40, 41, and 43% in the last year with the Pistons, the next 2 years with the Clippers. What you're getting is the last 3 years he shot 36.7, 38.9, and 35.3. Khang, this is not a sexy signing at all, and I guess I'll let you speak before I offer up what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you know what? Everyone told us this was coming, even before the season ended, before the playoffs ended, and I was dreading it. I was hoping it wasn't going to happen, and it happened. Yeah, this is a guy that I think they had to get another veteran scorer on the team. To me, you know, the best days of Tobias Harris are behind him. I feel like you're filling up, like I said, a roster spot right now with a veteran scorer because you need somebody there. But the guy was a complete no-show for the Sixers in their elimination game. I think he literally scored 0 points. Could he help the Pistons? Sure, because that's how depleted the team was last year. But it doesn't do anything for me as far as, help moving this team forward. He's not part of the future. I mean, I've seen this act before, and I think the act the first time was better than this act going to be the second time. I actually forgot he went to the Clippers before he went to the Sixers for the last few years. He's not ancient or anything like that, but 31 he's not in his prime. Like I said, I think that's come and gone. I was hoping for other players, not that you were going to get Paul George or anything like that, but I was hoping to get Hartenstein. He signed with the Oklahoma City Thunder. It is what it is. I've liked everything Trajan Langdon has done so far. I'm not a big fan of this move personally, but they had to bring somebody in who has the ability to score. That's a veteran in this league.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to bring back a former Piston, I was hoping it was going to be Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, but apparently he's going to go to Orlando. Gary Harris was a name that I wouldn't mind, and not because he's a former Spartan, but because he does what you really want, 3-and-D kind of guy, and can score for sure. So I'm a little disappointed it wasn't him. He's also a couple years younger than Tobias, but we'll wait and see how all this works out. It's a 2-year deal, so 2 years from now they'll free up that money, and maybe by that point they've got something to show as a team, and they can go and attract some kind of a free agent. But this is not a move that's going to wow Piston fans at all.
No, I mean, this is part of the the rebuilding, the restructuring with this new organization. They had to bring, like I said, someone in. Hopefully his three-point shooting climbs back up. It dipped, I just looked up his last playoff game. 29 minutes, 0 for 2 in an elimination game against the Knicks this year. When they needed him the most, he wasn't there. And not that the Pistons are going to playoffs next year, but if you have high aspirations, maybe if they can more than double up their wins, but, play for something meaningful at the end of the season. All this, though, the only thing that matters is, does this help Cade Cunningham? Everything that Trajan Langdon does needs to help Cade Cunningham. And he is a veteran guy who's shown the ability to score this year. Maybe he can just calm things down, solidify things, like I said, that veteran presence. Because Ron Holland, their first overall pick, is 18 years old.
Yeah.
This is one of the youngest teams in the league. So they're going to go after a guy like this. Like I said before, all signs point to it. Everyone said it was going to happen. It happened.
Yes. So here it is.
There wasn't much out there available realistically that the Pistons were going to get.
Tobias Harris is a Piston, a 2-year deal, $52 million. Look, they're looking for shooters. They're looking for guys who can space the floor a little bit more. And like you said, to build around Cade, this is not a building block. He's
He's more like a calming. I don't know. You're
He's
gonna
a
have
veteran
to,
presence,
exactly.
and
That can still play. He's not just sitting at the 12th bench.
I mean, he
or
averaged
12th
17
man.
points a game last year, so he can do that. But this is not going to wow anybody. I want to hear that they've, and I think they will, re-sign Simone Fontecchio. That's a guy I think is really someone who could take his game up another level, because he can start and shoot over 40% from 3-point land, which would be huge. We'll see what the next moves are with Trajan Langdon. The report is that they're going to sign, that they've got the coach, J.B. Bickerstaff, former Cleveland Cavaliers coach. 3 straight years in Cleveland where they won 44 games or more, so it was 3 winning seasons. That's impressive, but it's really impressive when you add to it that he did it with an extraordinarily young team. And that's what the Pistons are, a very young team. So you build that. So is this the right guy for the job? I think it is. I'm very encouraged by this. I like Monty Williams as a hire, but not necessarily for last year, because he wasn't ready to. It looked like he didn't want to coach. He had to be coaxed into it. He'd be talked into coaching again. He was ready to take a year off, and the Pistons threw a lot of money at him. He's like, all right, I guess I'll do it. So maybe Hart not all the way in it, but Bickerstaff is somebody who makes a lot of sense, and hopefully the Pistons are now going in the right direction. They've got this extension that they've agreed to with Cade Cunningham, reportedly, that it'll become official at the end of the week. But he gets, a 5-year extension of $226 million. That's the max. And he's a hell of a player. Hopefully he can stay healthy, he hasn't shown that ability in the first 3 seasons of his career. But if he can, he's a very good player. I think he's all-star caliber. How good can he be? We'll see. Put more players around him. That's when you're really going to see how good he can be, when other teams aren't just having to key on him. But initially, I kind of I definitely like the hire of the coach. I don't mind the draft pick. It is what it is. But I don't love the Tobias Harris news. At that's $52 million over the next 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't don't get caught up in the money too much. That's the NBA nowadays. If people are just parachuting in, they're going to see big numbers with these free agents that aren't necessarily great players, because the cap is so high in this league. They have so much money.
Yeah, but here's the problem I have with it is that the Pistons were sitting way atop the league in terms of cap space, and if you're going to take on a veteran player like that, would you rather sign a free agent veteran like this, or would you rather take on somebody else's player?
Yeah, with a big contract,
and get assets.
No,
and then they'll say, "Hey, I'll send you a first-round pick, so you can take on this contract."
Tim Hardaway Jr.
What they did with Tim Hardaway.
Yeah,
Jr.
Tim Hardaway Jr. They attach a bunch of second-round picks to it, right?
Yeah.
To hopefully move into the first round one day or something like that. Just gain assets. Listen, I didn't want Tobias Harris. I'm not in love with this signing. I had higher aspirations, especially after what Trajan Langdon said, that he was not against acquiring a big contract, right? Because how else are you going to get players to come here? So I was shooting for someone like Brandon Ingram, where you probably would have to max out a much bigger deal than this Tobias Harris deal. Now, maybe the Pelicans, they're not willing to part with Ingram. They try to work something out with him because they just made a trade themselves to try to make that roster better, to build around Zion. But that's what I was looking at. Hey, bring me Brandon Ingram. I'll pay the guy. I'll take on the years. But he's much younger. He's got a bigger upside. I don't think he's hit his ceiling yet. He's got some injury concerns as well, which seems like every single person in the league nowadays. But that's what I was shooting for.